Hey YouTube, Warbles on a lot here with another movie in the 5th prototype SunFoil construction project. You've already seen one pylon completed with the other one as a before. Here we've got 1.5 pylons completed in the carving, and I thought we might just have a little bit of a tutorial while I put the streamline on the back end. Now, it's a fairly cold and miserable day, in spite of the fact that we got a little bit of sun poking its head out of the clouds from time to time. Here we can see the thermometer telling us that it's 5 degrees Celsius. Alright, got down to 0 last night. If you look out there on the western horizon, we've got what you could otherwise think of as snow clouds, but I think due to global warming, the weather systems have almost forgotten how to snow this far north from the South Pole. When I was a kid, yeah, we used to get 3 foot of snow that'd lay around for a week, and it'd do that once every 10 years. Well, 5th of June 2012, we haven't had serious heavy snowfall since 1984. That was last time we had 3 foot of snow that lay around and stuck here for a week. So, let's do some wood carving, eh? Okay YouTube, let's see if we can have a tutorial. So, it's freezing cold, and it appears that the weather systems have forgotten how to make proper snow around here. And that's a bit sad, because I used to like seeing snow from time to time when I was a kid. It was fun. But anyway, in an effort to wind back the clock, I'm going to try and teach all the YouTubians how to streamline their solar panel using wood. So here we go. Leading edges up there, trailing edges here. We want to take that piece of wood away. We've got to carve away from myself, but this camera is not going to see it. I'm literally going to work so fast that you're going to see the rasp out here. That's when you're going to hear the noise of it going forward, and you're going to see the backstroke. Then it's just going to magically appear out there. So do not be fooled. You cut on the outward stroke. And when cutting A.E.R.O foils, always start at the trailing edge and work your way forward. I didn't do it on this other one because it was the trailing edge that was the tricky bit there. But as a general rule, start at the back, work your way forward. Now, I don't dare put any music onto this as a backing track. Last time I did that, the copyright software Nazi pirate program identified the song that I'd been playing on the radio in the background of a wood carving movie, and before I'd edited the titles and settings, my movie was not available on mobile. So why don't I run through the idea of having a SunFoil and what I expect the one that this is streamlining will achieve. It's a 30 watt panel. Which is convenient because I happen to have a 30 watt panel lying spare, but 30 watts is the exact size that my son's vehicle requires. It needs a 30 watt panel because that's 1.7 amps, and it needs a 1.7 amp panel because its battery requires 3.68 amp hours per day. It needs that to make up for sulfation, which all lead acid batteries suffer from, which causes them to lose 1% of their charge per day. Even when you take no power out of them, they lose 1% of their stored charge per day. The other 2.4 amp hours that goes out of the battery, apart from the sulfation, is the 1/10 of an amp to feed the dashboard clock and the stereo memory chip, and he's got an engine management computer with a memory stack as well. So my old car also uses a 1/10 of an amp, and I fitted an oversized battery to mine, so I've got a 95 amp hour battery as well. So in my car, 30 watt panel gives the battery 3.68 amp hours a day every day, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny. The solar panel always gives the battery 3.68 amp hours a day, and my car only burns 207 mils of petrol per amp hour. It's 3.5% efficient. Now this panel here is going on a turbocharged intercooled diesel. 31.5% efficient at turning diesel into torque. So you would think that this panel is going to save less diesel because it's on a more efficient engine. But even though it's only delivering the same amount to the battery, that highly efficient diesel engine my son's got, it's 40% larger than my engine. And a big engine burns more fuel than a little engine, producing the same amount of power. It's running a 3-to-1 step-up drive on its alternator. The 3-to-1 step-up on the alternator is 50% more of a step-up than my 2-to-1 step-up. So he's only got a 2.5% efficient setup for burning diesel and turning it into electricity. So that's a bit bad. That'll be right. So whereas my car burns 207 mils per amp hour, the diesel is 25% more efficient. So that fuel burn in theory comes back to about 150 mils per amp hour. But it's 40% bigger. So the 150 mils per hour times 1.4 brings us back to 210 mils per amp hour, and that's before we figure in the flaming 3-to-1 step-up drive. Once you put that in there, the 210 becomes 320 mils per amp hour of diesel, which is $1.85 per litre, whereas my petrol is only $1.61 per litre. So I'm expecting, if I'm 100% right in all of my calculations, I'm expecting this is going to save about 8 litres of diesel a week. So we're talking 416 a year, which is about $700. So $700 worth of fuel per year from $261 worth of materials. It's a pretty good deal. And anybody who passed high school woodworking should be able to do this. It's really quite a simple job. And if you get cynical about it, the fuel saving or the fuel burn difference between a Rodeo with streamlined solar panel fairing pylons versus square edges is almost nothing, but it's going to look better. Now, one thing I've learned in nearly 4 years of fooling around with solar panels on cars is that the look of the thing matters to most people more than how it works or why it works or what it does or what it costs. Most people are more worried at the idea of spoiling the look of the thing than worried about how efficient it is and whether it's worth paying attention to. But I think 8 litres a week's probably a quarter of his fuel burn.